All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, I'm Frank Marizio, and welcome to One More Thing. I want to tell you a little bit about the concept of this show. So, I've been in sales for about 23 years, Marine Corps veteran, and I've definitely had some ups and downs in my career. And I found that anytime I wanted to get better at something, I just would go out and find somebody that's doing it best and learn from them. The great thing about this LinkedIn and this Facebook and all these online communities that we're part of is that there's so many folks that are just willing to help if you just ask them. So what I'm doing with One More Thing is I'm going out and I'm bringing you the experts that are doing that one more thing that's making them ridiculously successful, and they're willing to share it with you. I'm going to bring it right to you, right at your desk, and I'm going to challenge you to add one more thing to your repertoire and have your best year ever. Okay? Today's guest, he is amazing. What a great guest. Joe Apfelbaum. He's the CEO of Ajax Union. That's a B2B digital marketing agency based in Brooklyn. He's a business strategist, marketing expert, certified Google trainer, author. He's got a new book, High Energy Secrets, talks about how he lost 95 pounds and has more energy than ever. When he's not out there motivating, we're going to hear about that later, motivating entrepreneurs. He's chilling in Brooklyn with his wife and his 5 kids. I've been following Joe for quite a while on LinkedIn. He's been a major part of my journey. I've learned a lot from his webinars, and his posts are consistent, and the quality is always something that's useful to my business. So I encourage you all to follow him. And I want to bring, without any further ado, here he is. Joe Apfelbaum.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here. I love the term "without further ado." I always laugh when I hear that. I don't know why.
It's kind of it's like an old timer term. But,
Yeah.
Thanks for being my guest today, Joe. This is really great for my audience. I see we got a bunch of people tuning in already, and I want you to tell us just a little bit about your journey. So how'd you get here? I know you have an interesting story, so tell us a little bit about that.
So a couple of years ago, feels like yesterday, but it's really over a decade ago. I had a full-time job and I had 7 side hustles. And one of my side hustles is now my marketing agency. But I would build websites for people. I had an IT business. I had a bunch of different businesses doing marketplaces and eBay and all types of interesting things. And when I would build websites for people say, build it and they will come. You ever heard that saying before, Frank? I'm sure you heard it, build it and they will come. But I built it many times and nobody came. So I had to learn how to market it and start getting traffic to people's websites. And I realized that marketing is really the point. Getting business is really the point. Building a website just to have it there, having a LinkedIn profile just to have it there, doesn't really help you unless you're doing something with it, unless you're marketing yourself, unless you're taking action, unless you're actually growing and progressing and getting more business. So I had to learn about, I was a technical guy, I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, and I love reverse engineering Google and doing SEO. And so I decided to focus on Ajax Union. We grow Ajax Union to be one of the fastest growing digital marketing agencies in the world. And what I found was that most businesses were going out of business because they were targeting the wrong customers, because they didn't have systems and processes, because they didn't have a great culture. For many reasons, they ran out of capital, they weren't profitable. And I didn't want Ajax Union to go out of business. I wanted to figure out how we were going to continue to grow profitably and also support the right type of customers. So over the past couple of years, we repositioned ourselves to be a B2B digital marketing agency and focus on working on different types of customers within the B2B space, doing specifically lead generation, email automation, landing pages, funnel creation, all that type of stuff. And what I found was that the best customers that we were getting come from LinkedIn, come from referrals, come from networking. And LinkedIn's a really great way to be able to do that networking on scale. And I've had such great success that last year we actually launched a new company called Evergreen, because I'm super passionate about teaching entrepreneurs. I was approached by Google several years ago to teach people about Google's products and services, and I became a certified Google trainer. And I trained over 10,000 business owners about Google's products and services. At that time, when they reached out to me, I was actually afraid of public speaking. But now I kind of get over it after doing it for so long. And I realize the things that we're afraid of are the things that we often end up loving the most. And if we can just get over that barrier, we can really flourish and really express ourselves. And my way of expressing myself right now is through doing these webinars that you've attended and these seminars and just putting myself out there and putting quality content, just being authentic and really sharing valuable things that people could take action on around personal development, around business, around marketing, around networking, around sales, around growing yourself as an individual, around expressing yourself, getting over fears and all that stuff. So I really love that. And that's kind of like how I came from where I was. I lacked awareness. Even as a person who had one of the fastest growing companies in America, even as a CEO of a multi-million-dollar business, I still lacked major awareness around my health and around the other areas of my life. So I had to find my purpose, redefine myself. And when I did that, not only did I lose 95 pounds and keep it off, but I've also been able to help so many people along the way. I always say, I don't want to go viral. I want to help 1,000 hungry entrepreneurs go from frustration to motivation. And I want 1,000 people to see me 1,000 times. I don't need to have millions and millions. I don't need to be Gary Vaynerchuk. I just need to be Joe Apfelbaum.
That's incredible, Joe. Thanks for giving us that background. So, I think this falls right into the main topic of the day, right? So, as you know, there's tons and tons of people on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook, like you mentioned in your opening. Yeah, if you're there, like, what are you there for? Are we there for business? Are we there to help each other? Are we connecting each other? Are we getting to know each other? Are we growing relationships? Or are we just hanging out? I don't think either one of us believes that LinkedIn is a social network, even though we do have some fun with it. We're having fun while we're growing relationships and friendships and helping each other in business. So, main topic of the day, let's jump right into it. How do you generate revenue on LinkedIn? What's the secret?
How do you generate revenue on LinkedIn? It's such a great question. And so many people have been asking that because people have it all wrong. They think that the only way to generate revenue is to do sales. And sales is an important part of business. Don't get me wrong. We teach sales in Evergreen. But sales is not really the point when you go to a networking event. So, Frank, you know this. You've been to many networking events in the past, especially in your business where you completely rely on referrals, right? That's how you get business, referrals.
Yep.
And the best customers, this come from referrals. And networking is a really great way to get referrals, staying top of mind. Now, when it comes to technology, LinkedIn is the world's #1 professional social network with 650 plus million members. 40% are logging on a regular basis. And when I ask people, what are you on LinkedIn for? People are like, I don't know. I don't have a strategy. I don't have a plan. I'm not sure. I'm just on the feed and I'm just reacting. And if you go to a networking event and you just watch, nothing's going to happen because this. The fortune is in the follow-up. People say it over and over and over and over. You go to an event, but nothing happens from the event unless you follow up like crazy. And so I've learned offline how to be successful as a networker and go from a person who would just walk in and with my objective being collect as many business cards as possible. I would have this thing where I would go in with my 10 sales reps into a massive event that had 400 people. And I would say, whoever gets the most business card, I will buy you dinner. And I would always come out with the most business cards because I don't like buying my sales reps dinner for no reason. And I don't like losing either. But what I realized at one point was I had hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of business cards, just like you might have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of LinkedIn connections. And I always tell people hoarding LinkedIn connections is not going to get you business. You're going to think you have a CRM full of names and you're going to close deal. If you want to generate revenue, it's not about just collecting names. It's not just about connecting, but it's about building real relationships. It's about networking, not about prospecting. You see, prospecting is really important. Prospecting is an art, and there's a lot to prospecting. There's a lot of skills you got to learn. But networking, Frank, networking is really the key when it comes to LinkedIn. So, yes, there's a social component. So, how do you do networking in general? So I pull the idea, the strategy out of the tactic. So the same thing with marketing, the same thing with everything else. I pull the strategy and I separate it from the tactic. It's not how do you do LinkedIn. It's not how do you update your profile. It's not how do you log in. Because even if you're a complete person with a very low IQ, let's just keep it clean, you still know how to put in your username and password and press login. You still know how to click on the buttons and figure it out. You know how to use LinkedIn. The question is, do you know how to network? Do you know how to build real relationships? And most people have no idea how to do that. As a matter of fact, 90% of people are afraid of networking because networking is like public speaking. And Jerry Seinfeld said people would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy at a funeral. So when it comes to networking, people are afraid of rejection. There's a lot of fear going on. There's a lot of lurking going on. And if you're a lurker right now and you're not liking, get out of your comfort zone and give this video a like and leave a comment and let us know what you do. What is it that you do for a living? In the comments right now, tell us what you do for a living so people can see that. You know, most people that go networking, they don't even tell people what they do. They don't even know what to even do. They don't have a system and a process for it. And what we do is we teach you that networking is really in 3 steps. Being successful at networking is 3 steps. Step number 1 is have a strategy. So brand yourself a certain way. So anybody speaks to me, they know that I want to do 20 professional paid public speaking engagements in 2020, specifically about LinkedIn, about strategy, about business. People know that. I'm branding myself that way, and I know I have a plan. Part of that is my goals. Part of that is who I'm targeting as a target market. I want to help 1,000 hungry entrepreneurs go from frustration to motivation, right? I know exactly who I'm targeting, how I'm targeting them, and I know my message. I know the message that I'm giving them. So having a clear foundation as a strategy is really important as branding, as the first step. The second step to networking successfully is building your assets. Now, the fortune is in the follow-up, but you're not going to follow up unless you have your stories, unless you have your profile or your website set up correctly, unless you have a dashboard to track everything, unless you have a content calendar, an asset library. It's going to be very difficult for you to be consistent. The reason why I'm so consistent and consistently putting out valuable content is because I know my stories. It's because I have an optimized profile and because I have all the dashboards that I need in order for me to be consistent. And then once you have your assets in order, you have your library, you have your calendar, you have your connections dashboard, and everything's in order, then it's about booming. Then it's about just taking action. And of course, if you're watching this live or you're watching the replay, give me a boom in the comments below so that I know that you're there and I can connect authentically with you and we can build an even deeper relationship. So when it comes to taking action, there are really 3 things you need to do on LinkedIn to be successful to generate actual revenue. Now, you can't generate actual revenue if you have no idea what your goal is because you have no idea who you're targeting and no idea what the messaging is. You're not going to generate revenue if you don't have your assets in place because you'll never be consistent. And like I said, the revenue, the fortune is in the follow-up. But if you're taking action consistently, there are 3 things that you need to do. Number 1 is you need to stay top of mind. You need to stay top of mind with the people in your life. If you're networking and you want more business, people have to remember you at the right time. So how do you stay top of mind on LinkedIn? Well, you do it by posting. What do you post? There are posts, there are articles, there are videos, there are images. There are so many different things that you could be posting on LinkedIn. Even posts alone, there are 6 different types of posts. There's engaging, entertaining. There's lots of different types of posts. So we teach you how to post on LinkedIn. The second thing that you have to do to be successful at networking is you have to build trust because people do business with people that, number 1, they know and they remember, but also that they trust and that they like. If no one trusts you, why would they refer business to you? So you have to become real. And the way to become real is by commenting, by mentioning, by endorsing, by recommending, by liking. So if you're a real person, in the comments below, just write I'm real. Even if you didn't write anything else before and you're a total lurker, just write I'm real. So human beings know that you are real and you're not just a robot watching this video. I want to see that you're real. And if you're real, you'll comment and engage. And that will build trust with the people that you're engaging with. And then the third thing you have to do, they say, if you build it, they will come. Remember this? Before I built my agency, that's what they were saying. But I'm tying this together with LinkedIn because if you build it, they will not come. Just because if you post and stay top of mind, just because you engage, it doesn't mean you're going to generate revenue. You also have to do this key important part, which is outreach, which is reach out to people. You have to be the leader in the conversation if you want to generate revenue. No one's coming to you because you exist. They're coming to you because you add value and you build relationships. And the easiest way to do outreach on LinkedIn, I call this Operation DM, direct messaging. And there's a very specific process about how to direct message that we teach inside our course. But what I want you to understand is that if you're not posting, and you're not engaging and you're not messaging, there's probably fear that's stopping you from being successful. And it's usually because you lack a strategy, because you lack accountability, because you lack your assets, your dashboards, and all the things that you need in order for you to be successful. So if you're a lurker and you want to be that influencer, I'm not talking about an influencer like Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm talking about an influencer where you influence your key centers of influence, the 100 people or the 10 people that are likely and that are in the position to refer new business to you. That's how you generate revenue. Staying top of mind, building trust, and doing outreach through direct messaging That's how you're going to grow your business. And we have amazing webinars. As you know, we've done over 30 hours of webinars in the past year. And this year, we're going to do another 30 hours of webinars. So please check my profile on joelinkedin.com. And in my About section, I have a link to my most recent webinar replay. And then I have all the future webinars listed. And I am constantly updated in my About section on LinkedIn.
Joe, your webinars are amazing. I've tuned into a bunch of them, and they're just like this. They're high energy. They're giving out quality information that I could use immediately. It's actionable, and you break it down into steps. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3. We're branding, we're building, we're booming.
Booming!
That's right. We're booming. And you know what? This is booming. Let me just take a break right here. I just want to say hello to a bunch of folks that are out there. Let's see. Michael Abundanza is real. All right, we have someone that said they were real. Dylan's out there. Another Michael's out there. Got Muhammad out there. Thank you guys out in LinkedIn land. Got a bunch of folks on Facebook. Can't really get to that screen right now. It's all the way over there, so I don't want to reach across. But I mean, look, Joe, that's real quality stuff. Really appreciate that. I think the biggest thing that I've learned from you over the time I've been following is about consistency, right? So for me, I wanted to be top of mind. I wanted to share something of value. I started my LinkedIn video series, Tip Tuesday, and this Tuesday I posted my 23rd consecutive weekly episode, getting lots of traction on it, lots of engagement. You know, it's not just about the metrics. It's the folks that are engaging, asking and answering questions on the tips, and giving me encouragement. As a matter of fact, probably about 10 weeks ago, I got one out real late in the evening. And before I was able to even get it out, I got a few text messages saying, Tip Tuesday today? What's going on? Where's the tip? So if you're consistently out there, people are going to look for you. So yeah, that's really great advice. Joe, you talked about motivation a couple of times. And of course, I know that word, but could you explain that to my audience? Because I think this is a concept that people need to just embrace and put in their daily plan.
Now, most people, when it comes to getting efficacy, actually taking action and doing stuff, sometimes they're in the mood and sometimes they're not in the mood. So how do you get from a place of where you're not in the mood and you're frustrated because you want to be in the mood, because you want to take action? How do you do that? So what I teach hungry entrepreneurs, how to go from frustration to motivation, which means that you are on fire. That means you are in the zone. And it's not just temporary inspiration, but it's based on an actual strategy about how you can consistently be in the zone. You see, every morning I wake up and I have a routine to get motivated. And it has to do with me having progress in my life and seeing consistent progress. It has to do with me measuring different things and knowing that I'm having progress. It has to do with me drinking a certain amount of water, because a 5% drop in hydration is a 30% drop in energy. It has to do with me being grateful and really being mindful about my life and doing things like journaling and meditating and exercising and breaking a sweat. So if you want to get motivated, you need to have progress in your life. You need to measure, you need to drink, you need to learn, you need to connect, you need to contribute, and you need to express yourself. And realize that it's not based on circumstance that you're going to have a great life, but it's based on you deciding that you are responsible for every thought and every feeling that you have. And if you take responsibility for that and with the right strategy, create your ideal life, you're going to have a much better life than you have right now. If you're not living your ideal life, if you're frustrated and you want to get motivated, then follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, and I will teach you what I'm doing and what works for me to stay motivated.
I mean, having motivation every single day, I mean, it's a lifestyle change. You know, It's one of those, I like to say, by the inch, it's a cinch, by the yard, it's hard. Motivation is something you can decide that you want to have today, and you can just go with that. And then every morning you can wake up and you can add it to your day. So I think that's great, Joe. Let me ask you this. Because of the popularity of the content and the consistency, I'm getting a lot of connection requests. I'm not really about just adding up the numbers. The vanity metrics aren't doing it for me. I want to connect with the right people. Can you give me a little background on how do you choose? I'm sure you get tons of connection requests. If we looked in your box now, you probably have a few hundred. How are you deciding who to connect with and who not to connect with?
So there was actually one point where I had over 5,000 people waiting to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I had to take a step back and ask myself, what is my connection strategy? Because I used to just add everyone that would connect with me, and then I would just get a bunch of spammy connections. So I decided that I'm going to craft my own connection strategy. And inside our course, our Evergreen LinkedIn Foundations course, we actually have a bonus module where we teach you connection strategy and how to write your own. But just to be very, very brief, I'm going to share with you my own personal philosophy with who I connect with so that you can maybe create your own philosophy yourself. So number one is this person somebody that I know? If I know this person, maybe they're my next door neighbor, maybe they went to school with me, maybe they're a client, maybe they're a vendor, maybe they're somebody from my community. If I know who they are, I will likely accept that connection. Now, if I don't know who they are, then I ask myself another question. Are they strategic for my business? Can I refer business to them? Can they refer business to me? Are they somebody that I'd like to get to know for some reason? And if I do have a good reason and I like their profile and it looks like a person of interest, I will be likely to hit accept and try to get to know them to build a real relationship with them. And if the answer is no, I don't really think they're that strategic, then I would move to the third category where I ask myself, is this a person that's a fan of my content? So whether or not they're strategic for my business, if they're an actual fan of my content, that means they've watched this video or they watched a webinar or they're part of my weekly newsletter that I send out from joeapfelbaum.com, or they listen to my Breakthrough Maze podcast, or they're a follower on some other social media site, and they send me a connection request saying that they're a fan of mine and that they watched the video with Frank Maurizio. And what I would say is, yes, I'm going to accept this person because it's a real person that wants to see my stuff. Now, if the answer is no to any of those three questions, then probably I'll let it hang for a while till I see if they're engaged or if they're a real person or not.
Makes sense.
And that's the idea. I don't have to accept every single person, because realize the people that you accept as a connection request, there's some value in terms of accessing their second degree connections, but the real value is in building a real relationship with them.
Right. And that's leads me to my next point. So it is a ton of work, right? Now you have to build these relationships. Do you use some kind of dashboard? Is there CRM? Are there spreadsheets? Is it all of the above? Can you give us a couple of tips there on what you think might be the best way to go there to manage all these? I mean, it's thousands of people you're trying to grow relationships with. How do you break it down? How do you narrow it down to those folks that you should be developing relationships with on a priority basis? And then once you start that project, how do you manage that?
Inside our course, the LinkedIn Foundations course, we have the sixth module, 6 out of 9 modules. The sixth module is called Dashboards. And inside the dashboards, we actually have something called a connections dashboard. And it's simply a interesting spreadsheet that we created and that we give out to all of our students. And we teach you how to export all your connections from LinkedIn. And then don't just import them into your CRM, because many of them are not potential clients. Many of them are just they don't belong in your CRM. Instead, what you want to do is you want to first recognize, strategize, and then prioritize. So when I say recognize, is go through the list of, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000, and in your case, it might be a few more thousand names, and identify who are the people that I actually know, who are the people that I actually recognize. And you put yes in that column. And then the second step is ask yourself, are they strategic for my business? Can they refer me clients? Can I refer them clients? Are they a potential partner, an investor? Are they a potential employee? And determine what type of strategic level they are for your business. And then the third column, what you want to do is you want to identify what type of priority or how you want to prioritize meeting or networking with this person. And then you can filter out your list of connections and really be able to connect with people authentically based on whether you know them or don't know them, based on whether they're strategic or whether they are a priority for you. So I have a 3-step process that you could put into any type of CRM, or you can just use our dashboard that we give out as part of our LinkedIn Foundations course. And it's recognize, strategize, and prioritize.
That's great, Joe. Thanks so much for that. Believe it or not, we're coming up on 27 minutes and we're getting ready to wrap. I want to thank you so much for all of that motivation, all that incredible information that you passed on to us and our audience. Your website's going across the bottom of the screen down there. Everybody make sure they go check out Joe, check out his content, check out his website, take his course. He's amazing. He will help you add that one more thing to your business, which is generating revenue now from LinkedIn with his system. Branding, building, booming. That's Joe Apfelbaum. Joe, I want to thank you so much and really appreciate you, and look forward to interacting with you more in the future.
Thank you very much. And if anybody wants to connect with me, you can easily find me if you just go and type in www.joelinkedin.com. You'll get to my LinkedIn profile and let me know that you saw this program with Frank Maurizio so we can connect and I can learn how I can refer business to you. Boom.
Great. Thanks, Joe. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is season 1, episode 1. One More Thing with Frank Maurizio. It's going to air bi-weekly, so every other Thursday we're going to be here at 12:30.